Your Daily Dose podcast is supported by Alfin Crop Insurance, a family-operated crop insurance agency serving farmers across North Carolina and the Atlantic region since the 1950s. Alfin Crop Insurance is built on trust and a deep understanding of rural communities. Just as this podcast helps patients better understand their health and navigate care with confidence, Alfin Crop Insurance supports agricultural families with simple conversations and honest service. I'd like to take a moment to thank Brian Daly of Miller Grant & Company for being a sponsor of Your Daily Dose. If you're thinking about making a move in Central Florida, you need more than just a realtor. You need someone who truly knows the area and genuinely cares about your next chapter. That's where Brian Daly of Miller Grant & Company comes in. He specializes in Central Florida properties and has lived in nearly every corner of the region. From the heart of Orlando to the surrounding neighborhoods and communities, he understands what makes each area unique. The schools, the lifestyle, the restaurants, the hidden gems, and the places that truly feel like home. He can guide you every step of the way, helping you find the home you've always wanted. Contact Brian at 919-222-0893. or email him at brian.daly@millergrantandco.com. Hello, everybody. This is actually happening. I am so excited to welcome you to Your Daily Dose podcast and YouTube videos. My name is Jessica Daly, and I am so excited to begin this endeavor with you, and I hope that some of the things that I talk about are things that resonate with you and help you on your healthcare journey. So let me just say that as an individual, the goal in me doing this is actually helping a broader audience with their health literacy. So this means improving your health and also your quality of life, because I believe everything has to do with that. Everything from our professional, our personal, our spiritual, our mental health, all of it together has to do with how we take care of these bodies that we've been given. And that's what this podcast is going to be all about. And so I wanted to start out with the first one, just really talking about health literacy, because so many people don't even really have a clue what that means. So when I tell them that my career has really encompassed health literacy for the past about 10 years, they want to know, what is this and why are you so passionate about it? And actually in the next podcast, we're going to talk about my story a little more, but I wanted to start out by just talking about what health literacy really is and why, if it's not already important to you, it may become important as you hear what I have to share today. So I start by asking you today, have you ever been to a doctor's appointment and when you left, you weren't sure what just happened? And you weren't sure if your questions were answered, and you don't feel very secure about where you left things. Well, this is from a lack of health literacy. This is because in America, we were never taught really that much about our bodies and our health, how to be healthy, how to have good mental health, physical health, the whole package. We were never taught that. And it's not really our parents' fault because they weren't taught that. I do kind of lean into, as a former public educator and private educator, that it was up to the school system to have more about health embedded in what we were learning. It especially could have been embedded in science. With that said, do not feel bad that you don't understand your health, your body, or the healthcare system, because you were never really given opportunities to learn about it unless you did it on your own. So many people, especially adults, and sometimes adults my age, I'm 52 or older, are facing health challenges without this knowledge or without this experience. And then there are so many other things that come into play. It could be that English is not your first language, or you have a hearing impairment, or you have a visual impairment, or a mental disorder or disability. So all of these things play into understanding our health and how to maneuver the healthcare system. So that's what this is all about. It's empowering you with tools so that you know how to do all these things. You know how to manage your health to the best of your abilities. I also ask you, have you ever felt a little off, a little funny, not great, and you Googled your health or your symptoms? We've all done it. I've done it. What I want to also do through this podcast is give you resources and search engines and places to go that are reputable, trustworthy, that you can rely on this information better than just a Google. Years ago, when I worked in a hospital system as a patient and family research librarian, I would have medical clinicians, I'll get it in a second, come to me and say, Jessica, I need information on this. One of my most vivid memories is when I had a cardiac nurse come to me and she said, Jessica, I've been a nurse 25 years, but only in cardiac and heart related issues. And my sister was just diagnosed with breast cancer. Can you help me? I don't even know where to begin, where to look. It has everything to do with us knowing where to go to find what we need. And again, through this podcast, I'm going to help you on that journey. So let's dive into what health literacy actually is. I tell patients, community members, even people in my family, my friend circle, I tell them that health literacy is made up of a couple factors. Number one, do you understand your basic body functions? Do you understand any diagnoses that you might have? Do you understand the medication you take and why you take it and what the side effects are? It really comes down to understanding our health. The first thing I do is I ask people, where are you finding information? Are you finding this on Google? Are you finding this on Facebook, social media? If so, here's my caution. Just as much on social media is true as it is false. So you play that 50-50 chance when you're looking and trusting in social media. Be really careful of that. And also I hear, Jessica, I found this doctor online. He is fantastic. He has all these Instagram posts and these reels, and I just love listening to him. I'm doing what he says. And the next thing I say is, okay, have you researched this doctor, this physician? Have you looked them up? Have you found out their credentials? Have you found out their expertise, their experience, where they practice medicine? And often they'll look at me with a blank look because that's something they don't think about. They just trust when someone says that they're a physician or a doctor that they really are. And what we know is that everything we see on social media, on television, on the radio, wherever it's coming in at you, it's not always true. And anyone can say that they're a physician. I'm really quick to take this time to tell you I am not a clinician. I am not a nurse, not a doctor. I do not have a degree in any type of health science. What I do have is an education degree. I also have a library science degree, and I have experience as a hospital research librarian and also as a professor within health sciences. I let people know right away. I help you find the information you need. I give you the places to go to do your own health research. I'm a health literacy advocate and educator. And when it comes to actual facts and things that I'll share with you through this podcast, this is all from reputable resources that you can use that are free and online. It's about researching and understanding your health. Let's talk about some of the topics that we're going to have covered in this podcast. We will be all over the place. Let me just say that in the beginning. So some of the topics we talk about may not interest you, others may. Be open, because sometimes when we think we know a lot about a topic, somebody else has something to offer. And I say that because as long as I've been doing this, over 10 years, almost 30 in education, I learned something new from somebody every single day. And I love that. And even when it comes to education, health sciences, being a librarian, I still learn things every single day. So don't ever think, well, I've had cancer for 5 years. I know everything there is to know about it. You may at this moment, but there's things happening and changing all the time. So just be open to learning new things and having experiences. Here are some of the things we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about talking to your healthcare team, communication. It is so key to your health and improving your health and your quality of life. When we go to a doctor, a physician assistant, a nurse practitioner, whoever is giving us this care, we have to understand that they are people. And yes, they have this amazing medical knowledge, background, experience, education, but they're also investigators. They have to take the information that we share with them and they have to then decide what's wrong with us. So we're going to dive into that. We're going to get deep with that. We're also going to talk about managing our medications. Often we're just taking things and we don't really know why. There could be other alternatives. There could be interactions with our medications. Often we think everything over the counter is safe and it's not. They're drugs also. It's just that the government has decided you don't have to have a prescription for those certain drugs. Even when we talk about supplements and vitamins and all natural holistic medicine, that's all great, but it can also interfere with different drugs or even with our own body chemistry. We're going to talk about the fact that no matter what your age is, you can be health literate. So we can start with our kids and then into teens, young adults, middle-aged folks, and then on into our seniors. We can all learn about our health because it evolves and it changes. Now let's talk a little bit about living healthy, making some choices that could make a big difference in how you feel. There are so many people that are in pain, they have inflammation, they have poor gut health. And when I talk to them about changing their diet or changing what they're putting in their bodies, I get a lot of resistance. And I get that. We don't like to change. It's difficult to give up things that we are used to and that we like. We're going to talk about that through this podcast in a lot of different ways. One thing that I gave up was processed sugar, and that's probably been one of the hardest things I've ever done for my health. But I was addicted to processed sugar. And even though once in a while I still have a little bit of it, because we live once, and if I want to taste of that cookie, that's okay. I am not the health police. So understand that's not what this podcast is about. I am 100% transparent. I tell you exactly what I've done wrong and what I've done that has helped. And then you take from that. Just knowing about preventative care, being checked for things, just keeping our health in the best level it can be, no matter where we are. Because some of you will come to me without any health concerns. Some of you will listen to me and you have multiple health concerns or diagnosis that you're dealing with and you're managing, and that makes it hard. I'm never going to take that lightly. Another thing that we're going to talk about is our emotional well-being, because for so many years we were very comfortable talking about our physical health. But when it came to our mental health, what was going on up in our minds, that was something we kept private. And so the problem with that is there's nothing wrong with being private. Everybody should have privacy. I'm a very private person in a lot of ways. But when it comes to our mental health, that is something that we should be more open to talk about. And you will find when we get on these topics, I'm going to be 100% transparent. I'm going to tell you exactly some of the struggles that I've faced. I'm very transparent with that. Also, we'll probably do some sessions on this, but I'm an ADHD adult and was diagnosed when I was 49 years old. And when I did get diagnosed, people said, "Oh, Jessica, were you upset? Were you heartbroken that this happened?" And I said, no. I was so excited and relieved to know why I do some of the things that I do. And it just helped me because there's so many different things that I can do to manage a lot of the things I face as an ADHD adult. We're going to talk a lot about chronic disease, and you'll find out that that's something prevalent throughout my family with cancer, with stroke, with heart disease, high blood pressure. All these things are just really prevalent in my family and also in my husband's family. And the other thing that we'll talk about is that my husband has actually suffered from chronic disease. unexplainable heart failure. And we're coming up on his 20th heart anniversary. We as a family celebrate every year that he is still with us from the day he was diagnosed. So we don't see that as a bad day. We see it as a fabulous day every year when it passes. So we're coming up on 20 years. It's not easy when you have chronic disease, when you have things like heart failure or you have cancer, or even when we think about diabetes or you've had a stroke that has changed your life forever. There's so many different things. It could be arthritis. It could be autoimmune disease. So we're going to touch on what it looks like to live with those and some things that can help you, hopefully, along the journey. I'm a caregiver, have been, I kind of say forever. I remember my first grandparents getting sick when I was about 11 or 12 years old, taking care of granddad with stroke, grandmother with cancer, all before the age of 16. And then I didn't really realize, I think I was being prepared for what came after I got married. My husband and I had only been married for about 6 years when he was diagnosed with congestive heart failure at the age of 26. That was big. That was hard, and it's been hard. So we're going to talk about those journeys for the caregiver as well as the patient. We've got to start realizing as soon as we begin to look at alternatives, just better lifestyle choices, I want to say, we really are going to feel better. I get told all the time, oh my gosh, Jessica, I didn't realize you were 52. You don't look 52. You don't act 52. And I always stop and I step back and I go, okay, so what does that mean? Does it mean that as we age, we can't look healthy? We can't feel good? We can't be active? I think what's happened in our society is when we get older, we just kind of give up and accept I'm old. I'm supposed to feel bad. I'm supposed to hurt. I'm supposed to look like this. No, we're going to talk about embracing our age and being excited about whatever age we are and the health that we're facing, whatever that looks like, but making the most of life no matter what is going on with our health. Just understand that this podcast is going to be positive. It's going to be uplifting. It's going to be informative, but I hope never boring. I have a lot of stories I love to tell. I'm a storyteller, and that usually keeps audiences that I have engaged and interested in what I have to share. Let me also say, you may listen or watch a podcast and go, I didn't really get anything from that. That's okay. But then in turn, the very next one, you might walk away and say, oh my gosh, I never thought about those things. I'm so glad Jessica mentioned that. Because here's what I hope happens. I hope through this podcast, you connect with me through the YouTube channel, through social media. I'm going to be doing a lot of things there too, little snippets, little things. I hope that you let me know if something has helped you or if something helped empower you as a patient. Because here's the thing, we're all a patient. And we may not be in the doctor's office today. We may not be feeling bad or have an injury or that kind of thing today, but it could happen at any time. I want you ready, equipped, and empowered so that when these health issues come up, you know how to maneuver the system. You know how to be the best patient possible and receive the best care possible. We're going to laugh. We're going to probably cry a little, and we're just going to be very real about our health and feeling good. I think everybody deserves to feel good at the level they can. I want you to know that you never have to give up on your health. It's never too late to make changes and choices that help you to feel better. It's really just about knowing how to do it. And so I hope through this podcast we can do that.